Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. All right, just like yesterday, I'm running a little behind. And so I've got to post a video I just did. I got to do my morning tapping video, people. What's up? All right, this is going to be a discussion morning. Dang, I hope this chat picks up. I might have to pull up Facebook. All right, this is going to be a chat morning because we're going to talk about the video I made yesterday. So I guess I'm going to have to just I swear it's every day. Let's see. Can learn to disagree. We can learn how to sit in the comfort of disagreements. Okay. What's up? What's up? All right, let me make sure I'm here too. Good morning, everybody. I don't know why my chat's not loading. I swear. All right. Okay, we just posted that here. We post this on Instagram too. Learning to sit in the discomfort of disagreements. Actually, I like just sitting. I can't wait to get into this. I cannot wait to get into this. I hope you guys saw the caption because we're going to be talking about today the video I posted yesterday about how parents don't walk on eggshells around their kids. That's what we're going to get into. And then we may have a caller. We may have a caller. Let's see. Okay, let me make sure I've got it all. Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Class with Kate, where I take you to school on all things restoring relationships. Today is going to be a little different. So Tuesday, we had a caller. Wednesday, what did we do yesterday? What did I talk about yesterday? What did I talk about? People. I'm missing it. Sorry, people. I'm literally blanking. Oh, duh. We talked about the caller Tuesday. Yes. Okay. I'm thrown off. It's been a big day reading all these comments and processing all of it. So Tuesday we had the caller Marie. That's right. Yesterday we talked about Marie and emotionally abusive dynamics, breaking cycles, healing, self-compassion. We talked about that, all of that yesterday. Today we have a caller in a little bit, but before that I wanted to kind of cover some of the comments from the video I made yesterday. And this may surprise people. I don't think this is going to surprise anyone, but I stand firm on what I said. All right, so let's first maybe watch the video. Let's see, Kate. Could have been Kate. Instagram. So we're going to first watch the video and then I'm going to talk about it. So let's pull it up. All right, here we go. I hope you can hear it. Parents walking on eggshells around their kids. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as that. If parents feel that way, here's probably the reality of the situation. The kid has a strong personality. They have intense emotions. They have boundaries. They have agency. They say no. They know what they want. So they have a leader personality. So any of those things could be true. If a parent feels like they're walking on eggshells around their kid, they're most likely emotionally neglecting them at best and emotionally abusing them at worst. It's almost guaranteed in my mind that they are very invalidating, that they're very conflict avoidant, that they have not done their own work around emotions and conflict resolution, that they probably have issues in their marriage. Maybe they're in an abusive relationship. But bottom line is that there is no such thing as a parent walking on eggshells around their kid. The parents have all the power. What are we talking about? So if you're an adult child... Okay, we're going to stop there. That's what we're going to get into today. So again, I just made a couple videos that I posted, but when I posted that video yesterday afternoon, I was like, I had gotten a message from somebody. I never make videos. I rarely make videos based on like a request that someone asks, like, hey, can you talk about this? Hey, can you do this? I'm always like, yes, of course. And then, and I have a list of content that I'm going to make. And then I wouldn't say I forget about it, but my brain is just in a million places. Anyway, so yesterday I read that message and then I just like posted that video. And the video is essentially saying that parents, so the message was, what do I do with my parents that tell me they walk on eggshells around me? My whole life I've been walking on eggshells around them. What do I do if they are telling me that they walk on eggshells around me? Okay. Walking on eggshells. Okay, let's first define the term that walking on eggshells. I think somebody actually put this in the comments, that walking on eggshells is when you purposefully are like very cautious or hyper vigilant around somebody to avoid conflict or to avoid upsetting them. So let's first define what walking on eggshells is. Now, there's someone else commented this. There's like books on this. There's so much online about walking on eggshells, and like people that you have to do that with are like generally unsafe. So it is bad. I'm going to tell you my opinion again, and then we're going to go through some comments, okay? Walking on eggshells around your child is wild, okay? Not wanting to upset them. So not wanting to cause any problems. That's wild. Parents to child, period. If your kid is neurotypical, and especially if they're neurodivergent, okay? People are commenting, I swear, people are commenting like, I'm really scared of my 2-year-old toddler. What? I'm really struggling with my 3-year-old. Like, it's crazy over here. What? Okay. What? Like, I'm not coming from a like judgmental, shaming place. I'm coming from like, I cannot believe it's really shocking to me that so many people are scared of their own kids. Why this matters, why it is problematic, why it is emotional abuse and emotional neglect, like in one, really, is because you, number one, are misunderstanding your child and you are rejecting them. Like, I know I use active language a lot, like you are emotionally abusing them, you are emotionally neglecting them, like it's an active verb, like you are the subject, the verb is you are neglecting, like it's active, and then there's the object, your kid, right? Subject, verb, object. That's an active verb. Like you are doing something to the kid. So maybe this is an issue with the English language. Maybe that's the case. I think active verbs are very important in this context because that's the way kids are perceiving it. Kids are perceiving things. They take everything personally from you. They are thinking that you are doing this like to them because you're the parent. You're the, so anyway, parents that are in this victim role with their kids, it's unbelievable. Like, it's really, we need to look at that. If you were triggered by that video, we need to look at that, not from a judgmental place, not from a shaming place, not that like there's something wrong with you. You are separate from your beliefs and your behavior, first of all. I believe that as a parent too. But we need to look at this. This is a major problem. Okay? So first, we've defined the term. I talked about how if you're walking on eggshells around your kid, that has everything to do with you. And that is I need you guys to adopt that's the parenting mentality, okay? If your kid has unwanted behavior, that's coming from their own emotions and needs, but you are the one that creates an environment conducive to them getting those needs met or not, especially if they're neurodivergent. Why this matters so much is because do you guys know how related neurodivergence and childhood trauma is? Like, honestly, childhood trauma and neurodiversity. I Googled this. Okay, let me read this to you. Neurodivergence and childhood trauma. You can Google this and find out this information. Okay. Neurodivergent children, autism, ADHD, etc., allistic, whatever. So they're neurodivergent, but maybe they don't fall under the category of autism and ADHD. They're significantly more likely to experience childhood trauma, including bullying, abuse, and neglect, with studies showing they are nearly 5 times more likely to experience high levels of adverse childhood experiences, ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. If you don't know this, you need to get really familiar with that term. You need to look it up. There is a TED Talk on it. Adverse childhood experiences. There's 10 that are qualified. There's sexual abuse, divorce, having an incarcerated relative. Emotional abuse and emotional neglect are 2 of those ACEs. So the idea with ACEs is that the more that you have, the more adverse childhood experiences you have, the more likely you are going to have physical health issues later on in life. A doctor, an MD, researcher defined this term. And this is why I'm so passionate about this, because no one is talking about emotional abuse and emotional neglect. And me being a trauma therapist, a family therapist in the context of estrangement, marriage and partnership and parenting, this is very, very relevant, because what we have are, and these are my target people, are people that have ACEs from their own family and they're trying to prevent them with their own kids. We need to focus on the emotional abuse and emotional neglect part, because you're probably doing all of those other things right. You're meeting their physical needs. You're in therapy working on yourself, but there's not necessarily a connection between your own ACEs, what you are doing, and your parenting and your kids. So let me finish this. Okay. Kids that are neurodivergent are 5 times more likely to experience high levels of ACEs. Trauma can stem from a lack of understanding or a combination of their sensory social needs, often leading to masking, chronic stress, and developmental, behavioral, or emotional struggles that overlap with or exacerbate neurodivergent traits. Okay, here's just what people need to know about neurodivergence. Like I said at the beginning, if you are walking on eggshells around your child and your child is neurodivergent, they sense that from you. They sense your fear. They sense that anxiety. They sense that not knowing what to do. They sense all of that on an emotional level. Neurodivergent children have spidey senses to what's going on around them emotionally, even if things aren't being said. It's really especially if things aren't being said. And so they're very aware of that. And you walking on eggshells around them, rather than taking a courageous, not confronting, I like the word courageous, like taking a leaning in approach to their feelings, to their neurodivergence, when they are emotional and before, and all before. When you take that approach, you are telling them like, you are enough. I accept you. I can handle you. And they feel that. When you're walking on eggshells around them, they feel two things: misunderstood and rejected. When parents show fear and they're avoiding this walking on eggshells around they're avoiding conflict. They are not owning their own emotions. They're not understanding the environment, the emotional environment they are creating. Their child, and we're not trying to cure their neurodivergence, right? You didn't cause that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that neurodivergence co-occurs with childhood trauma more often than not. That's what we need to control. This is nuanced, right? Like, no one's blaming you for your child's neurodivergence. What I am saying is that you walking on eggshells is 1000% in your control. And isn't that good news? Isn't that good news that there is something as a parent you have control over? And in fact, it's like the majority that you have control over. So I think that walking on eggshells, and like for some reason, people are standing on business on that. I don't know why the hell that is happening. That is very concerning to me, that parents are like, of course I'm walking on eggshells. Try having a dysregulated toddler. Try having an autistic 10-year-old. And I'm like, what the hell world are we living in? That is absolutely unacceptable. Someone else said, I got a comment and so let's go over some comments. Someone said, well, it's hard, when you're a parent and you're very empathetic, you're very attuned to them. It's hard not to take it personally. Okay, I don't care. Like, when it comes to parenting, you guys know I'm all for estranged adult children. I'm all for having self-compassion in marriage. I'm all for having self-compassion and understanding where you're coming from. That changes for me from my point of view when we're talking about parents walking on eggshells around their kids. That changes. Because there's two parts of parenting. There's your emotional experience of it, and then there's your beliefs that you have as a parent with what you're entitled to do. And people are very disconnected from that. They're very disconnected from their own agency when it comes to parenting. And that cannot happen. Okay. So let's go over some comments of what people have said. My TikTok, by the way, so I've posted this on TikTok, on Instagram, it's on Facebook, and I think it's on YouTube Shorts. It's gotten the most traction from TikTok and Instagram. However, there are two different points of view. On TikTok, which is kind of notoriously younger people, teenagers, adult children, the comments on that are like, fucking crazy, okay? They're talking about, yeah, my mom told me that I've been emotionally abusing her since I was in 4th grade. What the fuck? Honestly. Okay? And so those are the comments. So go to TikTok to get the child's experience. Yeah, I grew up scared of myself because my parents were always scared of me. I got the message that they couldn't handle me. And I didn't even know what was going on inside of me. No one was telling me this. I was suicidal, like all this crazy stuff. Okay. And then we go to Instagram, where it's like majority adults, majority parents. So let's go over the Instagram comments. I'm going to filter this by top comments, I guess. Okay. Here's the top comment. Early intervention is needed. That's why I've devoted my life to helping moms of young, spicy ones. Okay. This is somebody named Mary Van Geffen. She's got a bunch of followers on TikTok or on Instagram. She helps parents that need help with their neurodivergent kids. Another great resource is Calm Parenting Podcast. Go follow those two people. Here's a question. How do I find out if I'm the problem? Well, as the parent, you definitely are. So that's just like the focus to take. We're not We're not using our kids' diagnosis of being neurodivergent, of being autistic, of being ADHD, ODD, CPTSD, whatever. As parents, we are never using their diagnosis to scapegoat them, meaning they are the problem or I am the problem. This is like more nuanced in a way, but it's also not, because their neurodivergence, we need to look at it as their neurodivergence is triggering something in you. I've worked with parents that have neurodivergent kids. They're great parents in that they are willing to take responsibility. Remember, like, I work, people like voluntarily come to me. So they're amazing parents who work on the emotion dysregulation in themselves. That's what we work on, because they kind of know this stuff. They're like, when I focus on my kid and think that they're the problem, the behavior gets worse. When I walk on eggshells around them, the behavior gets worse. It reinforces that they're the problem, and these kids, these bigger feelings of being misunderstood and being rejected. It makes the problem worse. When I focus on myself and emotionally regulating myself and modeling that myself when I get home from work, when they get home from school, when I'm engaging with my husband, with my wife, when I worry about the environment of emotions that I am creating, that creates a safe place for their emotions to come and go, like to pass. Okay? So this is like nuanced in a way that they're not the problem and you're not the problem in the sense that you caused it. You didn't cause it. The nuance is that you are the parent in a position of authority and leadership, and that when you stop focusing on them as the problem, you focus on yourself and the way that you respond to them. You stop de-escalating them and you just connect with what they're feeling. You connect with it. You're like, I get you're pissed. That makes sense. So anyway, well, let's go over another freaking comment here. All right. So there's 2 resources for you. Mary Van Geffen, Geffen. That's a resource. Calm Parenting Podcast is a resource. All right. Question. All right, hold on. I want to read some other comments. This is true in my family. My mom recently said that she has to walk on eggshells around me because I now show my feelings and push back against inaccurate assessments of my inner world. She doesn't understand that I've walked on eggshells around her moods my entire life. All right. Hold on, it's just a displacement of focus. That's what someone else commented. It's so true. Like, when you focus on your kid being the problem, and this can come with good intention, like, I want to be the best parent, I want to do everything for my kid. That's like, you're going to be permissive, you're going to walk on eggshells, you're going to avoid conflict. The other thing we need to do is look at our own history. When someone has had an emotional outburst historically in our life, in our own family of origin, what did everyone do? Because the deal is, maybe it was a parent, and maybe it was a sibling. And so when I'm telling you this, to look at yourself and that your kid is not the problem, and that walking on eggshells is actually the problem, and people have so much resistance to that, it's because it's me saying that for some people, it requires an ego death. It requires them to look at it. It causes people to reevaluate their whole kind of life and how they viewed certain situations. Oh, so maybe my brother wasn't the problem. Maybe my parents just didn't handle him right. Maybe their helplessness was the problem. Maybe their avoidance of emotion was the problem, And so how does that affect my relationship with them now? I've always taken their side when it's come to issues with my brother. I saw some other comments that were fucking insane about, well, this is different when the child has borderline personality disorder. Okay, borderline personality disorder is an internal thing, but we need to look at the environment that they are in. People with borderline personality disorder, it co-occurs with PTSD. It co-occurs with childhood trauma. It co-occurs with parents who are so invalidating. I'm going to go one step further, and then we have a caller. Have you guys done any reading on families that have a child that has diagnosed schizophrenia? Have you done any reading on that? I need you guys to read about family systems and schizophrenia and what parents with those children with that diagnosis, what they have in common. It's going to blow your mind. And again, this should be good news. This should be good news that we have more control than we think. Okay? That the way that we as parents respond to our children's emotions and behavior, it has a huge impact on what they think about themselves and how they behave. We need, regardless of diagnosis, we need to understand that. Because here's the deal with kids that have schizophrenia. We know that it's genetic. We know that schizophrenia is like a genetic, I don't know if it has a genetic marker. We know it's hereditary. We know that it can, we know that part of it. We know that there's a nature component. We also know that it's onset for men in particular in their, I think, late or early adulthood, so young adulthood. If you look at the family system, there are commonalities between, that happens in these families. There's something that's very fascinating. It's called a double bind, okay? If you have a very sensitive child and you are stressed out around them, you're walking on eggshells around them, and they come to you and they say, "I love you, mommy," and they're very clingy. And they're like, "What's wrong?" And you're like, "Oh, nothing." You are sending a mixed message. If you are stressed, but then you say, "It's nothing," and you have a bottom up, kids are bottom up, and you have a highly intuitive feeling kid, and then you tell them, "Oh, it's nothing," what's going to happen when they hug you is your body's going to flinch, right? Because maybe you're overstimulated, right? Because your intentions are not bad here. But the issue is that kids are kind of they can be gaslit. And again, I'm using an active verb because parents don't know how to deal with their emotions, and they're giving their kids to mixed messages all the time. So when a kid grows up in that environment, that's a very emotionally stressful environment. It teaches them, I can't trust myself. And why is my mom rejecting me? Why is she saying this to me with a smile on her face, but emotionally, she flinched? What is that about? So all to say is that mental health issues are brought on by stress. They're exacerbated by stress. So that's what we need to ask ourselves is how are we contributing to their stressful environment? How am I dealing with my emotions? Okay. How am I modeling this? And I've told people, if you can watch all my videos, I've told people home needs to be emotion palooza. How was your, not how was your day at school, but every emotion needs to be okay. Everything needs to be okay. And it needs to be talked about. So anyway, I could talk about this forever, and I'm going to make videos about this today, but we have a caller. Let me say, can you link that research? Which research? I forgot what I was talking about schizophrenia or about, neurodivergence. I can totally link any research you want. I have somebody that's dedicated to this. I also think that people that ask for, you can look at it yourself, you can Google it yourself. I am always really hesitant for people to be cite that source, because I'm one, you can look it up yourself. Number two, is that just your way of, being I don't believe you, and I'm going to look at this research to criticize it and disprove it. So that's what I'm curious about. About schizophrenia. Can I link? You can look it up. Honestly, I learned about this in grad school, but you can go to Google. Google has research options. So look it up. Look up the double bind. Look up CPTSD and schizophrenia. And again, real quick before we have this caller, nobody here is blaming. It's not blaming as in there's they're intending to do this, but it's kind of when a business owner has a business and they're blaming the employees. You know what I mean? It's is that blaming the business owner, or is that just the business owner's responsibility? So anyway, let's go to let me see if our caller is still ready. This may be a separate subject, but ready? You didn't mean it that way. I appreciate it. I didn't necessarily mean it for you. I just get that all the time. Hey, I'm curious how many kids you have. And I'm like, really? You're curious about that? Because that's just your passive, that's like another mixed message, like this fake curiosity that's just passive aggressive. I get that all the time. So, oh my goodness. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Let's call. All right, you guys, I'm doing this, by the way, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning, 10:30 Central. We're either going to have a call or I'm going to go on a rant like I did today. Let's see here. Alrighty. Is everything right? I think so.
Hello.
Hi, Megan. It's so
How
good
are
to
you?
see you. It's good. I'm good. How are you?
A little nervous, but I'm good.
Yeah, it's all good. I don't know if you were just watching, but I was talking about something completely irrelevant to the situation. So, anyway, yeah, we can totally jump in. Tell me. So, as everybody knows, I do these calls with people. It's like we're sitting on a bus, and you're just like, this is my situation, and I want to answer any questions you have mainly. I'm so glad you're here. I think these calls are so helpful. They help so many people. And there's nothing, they've been so great so far. So tell me like a quick summary of your situation and then what questions you have.
Yep. Okay, so quick summary of my situation. I've been married for almost 10 years, together for about 13. We have one child who's about 7.5. And I would say that I didn't have the words for it, but looking back, I think the relationship became emotionally, verbally, at times financially abusive. While we were engaged, and then like really heated up once we got married. I believe now, thinking back, like knowing how it all feels in my body, that it probably did happen on occasion while we were dating, and I just like didn't really like, I just couldn't put words to that.
Yeah.
It is, I think for many years I have approached it from sort of the bottom up method as I approach things with my son or myself, exactly like, okay, what are we feeling, the needs, the desires, all of that, to try to manage the behavior. And it has gotten me nowhere.
Right.
In fact, I think it even maybe makes him more angry. He has even said to me, like, stop, Dr. Beckying me. And I'm like, okay, but I don't know what else to do. Like, I'm not a yeller. I'm not a screamer. I don't know what else to do. I generally sort of like freeze and shut down. I get very quiet and very small and rather scared. Sometimes I can say, stop. I need you to stop. You cannot speak to me like that. Like, I am stepping aside. That usually makes him more mad. And it's really getting to the point where our son is very aware of it. And will say things to me. Like, sometimes he'll apologize after, like, I'm sorry that happened to you.
Oh, wow.
He also gets it sometimes too.
From your husband?
Yeah. And so my husband travels a lot. He's gone a lot. So a lot of times things are fine because it's just me and my son. And like, there's the chaos of a 7-year-old and his emotions, but like, we manage just fine. And there's just like a lot more chaos emotionally that happens when he's home. So and then just recently, like, I think one of the things that really hit me was my son was mad at me. I wouldn't let him use a drill by himself on something, a very typical 7-year-old desire that I was like, sorry, bud, that's not happening. Like, that's just a no. We can figure out another way. And he wanted to say something to me that would, hurt me because he was upset, right? Like kids say, I hate you. You're the worst, whatever. Fine. No big deal. He's 7 years old. But the thing that came to his mind was, I'm going to tell daddy and he's going to yell at you. And yeah. And
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
So the idea that, sorry,
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
the idea that like to my son, the thing that he could say to me that he thinks would be scary would be like unleashing dad on me is like, yikes.
Yeah.
So I think my main questions are around how do I, I understand kind of the idea around the top down, but I think like just maybe more concrete, like in the moment, what does that actually look like? What do I say? I think that's kind of like my starting question. And then I think my other questions would be around, in your experience, and we have gone through times where I've been able to sort of bring some of this to my husband's attention. And he says, I know I need to work on this and I am going to talk to someone. And then he doesn't, And I have tried to give a lot of grace and latitude for why he behaves the way he does.
Sure.
Right. I can give you a million reasons: work stress, his way he was raised, mental health things, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, like, I know the behavior is not okay. So
Right.
so I guess my secondary question would be, I've never actually said to him like, this is abusive and you can't, like, you can't do this. But like, I don't know, like in your experience, if you say that to someone, like, how does that go? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are my questions.
Good questions. I'm so sorry. That must feel so hard, how much energy and work you've put into managing the situation and probably even protecting your son from it, to then be like, that's the straw here at this point, is your son is, yeah, your son must sense and see how scared you are. So let me first ask a couple things. So, have you guys ever been to couples therapy? Yeah. Tell me about that. How does that go? Is it reinforced?
Not well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he usually makes him like more mad. And then we've spoken with a few and he just kind of ends up blowing up and then being like, I'm not doing that anymore. And yeah.
Okay. And okay, so there's that. What about is there a physical fear that you have? Does he drive crazy? Does he throw stuff? Does he hit the walls? Does he?
No,
Okay.
no, he's never been physical. He has like, I guess and I don't know if you can consider this physical, but he has like stormed off and left, or he has threatened to like abandon me somewhere. Like, I'm leaving, like, I don't, like a restaurant, like 30 minutes from our house, being like, if you don't get up right now, like, I'm leaving. And then he doesn't do, and that like really scared my son too, because he was like, is he going to leave us? And I was like, no, he's not actually going to. And guess what? If he does, like, I've got this, like, we're good.
Oh, that's so scary. Have you told anybody about this?
Yeah.
Do you feel supported? Do you feel?
I do. Yeah, I do. I do very much so. Yeah.
Do you have any men in your life that you have told? Yeah. What do they say?
I mean, I think that like they obviously are not okay with it. I think that they see me as like very like strong and like I can handle it. And I think all of them, like everyone's concern a little is like the devil you know versus the devil you don't, and like if I were just to leave or something, like, I don't know how like vengeful or something might he be, or you know what I mean? So it's not like they're like, oh, this is okay, this is normal, but I think like they're definitely super supportive, but I think there's an element to them that's like, okay, well, you kind of got this, and I don't know. Like,
are they trying to be empowering, but it comes off as,
I think so.
But am I hearing them say that are they saying that they're scared of what he would do too, if you stand up to him, or if you?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah. like, I think because he's gone so much, there's this element of like, oh, well, I know it really sucks, but like, at least, being in the marriage, you can be like there. And I feel this way too, sort of like I can be there as like a buffer for my son. I can be there, like kind of with him. If he's the recipient of sort of this treatment, like I can be that soft place for him to land, or I can step in. And the idea of not being able to be there for him. And I like, obviously my husband also has times where he's super fun and like,
Sure. Right.
and my son idolizes him and like wants all his attention, especially because he's gone a lot. So, it's not like, oh, every single day is like this, but there are a lot of times that are.
What have you tried so far? So you've tried couples therapy, you've tried having these conversations. So what happens when you have conversations after, like not in a moment,
Yeah.
not in a reactive
Yeah.
moment? What happens there?
I used to do more of that, and I've kind of just like lost the energy to do it. I don't follow up on a lot of these things anymore. I just kind of sweep them under the rug because he's never the one to circle back and be like, hey, I'm really sorry or anything. Like he would never do that. He'll just like kind of pretend like it didn't happen. And I know that's not good for me to pretend like it didn't happen, but it's so much emotional energy for me to be the one to like work up the courage to bring it up and figure it out. But if I did in the past, and if I do occasionally now, I'm coming at it from the bottom up approach of like, I know you were really feeling this or that or whatever.
Is that because, okay, so when you saw my videos about top down being like authoritarian almost, or like kind of embracing that energy, how does it land on you?
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just feel like I don't know how. Like I don't know how to start it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you some other things. In terms of like your life together, intimacy, cooking food, I know you said there's been some financial abuse. There's obviously emotional abuse. I mean, this is personal, but are you guys still sexually intimate?
Yes, but not to the extent he would prefer. He has said before, like, I think if we worked that part out, like everything else would fall into place. And in my mind, it's sort of the opposite. Like I have told him I have to feel like emotionally safe to like want to.
You told him that.
Be intimate. I have like in one or two really rare moments where he was like really receptive and he was like, I understand. But it didn't change anything. And I think he has often just sort of played it off like, oh, you're just not a very sexual person. And quite frankly, I haven't wanted to be, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So overall, what I'm hearing is that he is emotionally abusive. He's also entitled. Those are two different. I mean, they're not two different things, but like he has low regulation skills, low insight, low accountability, low. I mean, he probably acts. I guess I don't know. So he's very low on the emotional intelligence part, but he's also entitled. Is that because he's sexually entitled? He is emotionally, entitled, financially entitled. Is he the breadwinner, or is there yeah.
Yeah. For a long time, he was 100% the breadwinner. I stopped working right around when we got married, and it was a mutually agreed on thing. I left like a very corporate career, which I didn't really love doing anymore anyways. We knew we were going to have kids soon, and he was like, we're good, like this is what we should do, blah blah blah. But then it's always been like, well, I make the money, I blah blah blah. And now over the last couple of years, I have started working and earning money, but so he doesn't say it as much, but he does still put it down like, oh, well, you only make money because, you know what I mean? Just like kind of belittles it.
Have there been, okay, so I'll answer your question about like, what does top down look like? Well, and I'll also just throw out some other options. Like we're just throwing mud at the wall here to see, like what lands, what feels right to you. Yeah. Because, okay, so we need boundaries, insight, and consequence. Okay.
Okay.
So boundary is when it's happening, it's stopping it. Like, so it's leaving.
Hmm.
And if he follows you, like that makes this bigger than just the
Hmm.
argument. That's when it becomes abusive. Okay.
What if you're like in a confined space, like in a car? I feel like it often happens when we're like in a space I can't necessarily get away. I don't know.
Um, yeah, I mean, what happens? I mean, so are you feeling unsafe in the car?
Yes, but not because he's doing something like reckless,
Emotionally
but because he's
unsafe.
like yelling at me and yeah, 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 exactly. Yes,
I need you to
yes.
pull over. Like, we need to pause
Okay,
this. This is very
okay.
unsafe. Like, our son is in the car. This is not acceptable.
Hmm.
Pull over.
Okay.
Or, if you're driving, you pull over.
Yeah.
Like, it,
Okay.
it has to stop no matter what. We have to,
Hmm.
when we are feeling overwhelmed, when we're feeling scared, that's when the boundary needs to be there. Like, we need to
Hmm.
stop and we need to
Hmm.
have safety.
Hmm.
Because this is sounding like I don't mean to be alarmist or scary to you.
Hmm.
The fact that your son has said that, I
Hmm.
think I'm aligned with your kind of intuition about that, of like, this is
Hmm.
actually a really serious problem.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like, not just for you, but for your kid.
Yeah.
And he's a boy,
Hmm.
he's going to
Yeah.
identify with his dad.
Yeah.
And also, I think him feeling sad for you, feeling sorry for you, like feeling like seeing you as helpless in a way, that's a
Yeah.
problem
Yeah.
too. So that can mess with his idea of what women, with women.
Yeah.
So again, not to be alarmist, but
Yeah.
this does sound like it could affect him internally in his
Yeah.
relationships, and
For
that
sure.
like pretty serious intervention needs to be done. I would say this is like like multiple pronged approach, like where it's not just boundaries in the moment, it's not just consequences, it's not just
Hmm.
like, hey, I need to share more that you're scaring me. And until
Yeah.
this behavior stops permanently, until it's normal to expect your spouse to never yell at you. That's actually normal. So
Hmm.
like, if you ever do, like, never do it again.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
will get whoever these men are in my life, like, we will have a conversation. If
Yeah.
this continues, this is affecting our child. It's like one thing
Yeah.
where it's just me, it's another thing where it's our child. Like,
Yeah.
it's a zero tolerance policy around this
Yeah.
behavior. So it's on
Yeah.
your part. The work is like making a list of, or where the boundaries need to be. Boundaries just being
Hmm.
like the need for safety, like to stop the
Hmm.
interaction and to
Hmm.
reclaim emotional safety.
Okay.
So if you're not going to get out of the car, like, our son and I will get out of the car. Your son needs to see you taking action and
Yeah.
not just being a victim of your scary, big, bad husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's the three thing is like boundary, insight, consequence. Like, I need to pull over. We need to pull over and stop this. I'm feeling really
Okay.
unsafe. I'm feeling very scared. If he gets mad at that,
He
which he
does. He
probably
does.
does, that's
Yeah.
that's when it becomes abusive. So there's
Hmm.
a difference, right, between someone's just reaction, like they had a moment, versus that's
Hmm.
truly their response and they're not able
Yeah.
to self-regulate.
Yeah.
That's when and like maybe he's blaming you also. That's
Yeah.
very
Yeah. It's usually like, oh, you're just making me out to be a bad guy. You're making me out to be a monster, or like I
you
don't,
are
or like, oh,
yeah.
now you're just gonna cry about it, or like that sort of thing. Yeah.
That is so twisted and
Hmm.
abusive.
Hmm.
It's not normal when someone's upset and crying and telling you or telling them that you feel unsafe for them to become more unsafe.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
I know you know that I'm just like,
Yeah.
this is insanity. Like, it makes sense that you have felt stuck because
Hmm.
this is insanity. Have you
Hmm.
like been reading all the books and looking at your attachment style? Like, have you been going that route
Not
too?
a ton. I like
Oh,
I
that's
hear a
good.
little bit about that, but I haven't really. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So boundary, needing safety.
Okay.
Secondly, like, we're feeling scared. Like,
Uh-huh.
third, consequence. Like, if you don't pull over the car, like, we will not be getting in the car with you.
Hmm.
That's real talk. And we have to figure out consequences that are not just like empty threats, that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
really are going to stick. Um
So like
yeah.
for like a quick example of like when I tried to do that, I don't know, a number of months ago, we were the instance I was talking about when he was like threatened to leave us somewhere. We were on our way, we were driving somewhere like about an hour and a half from home. We were going to be there for the day and we stopped to get lunch on the way, and we're in a restaurant. It was like pretty loud though, and he's able to kind of do it in a way where it's like quiet enough, but whatever. And so he got really mad at me about something and was just going off, you're crazy, or blah blah blah. And I was like, please stop, please stop. We were sitting at a table where there was an empty table right next to us, just like on a bench, so I could kind of slide down. And I said, if you do not stop, I need to scoot over a table because like I need a little space. And I paused to like let him stop, and he was like, well, are you gonna move? And I was like, well, if you don't stop. And he's like, then move. And I'm like, okay. But then he got really mad at me for moving and was like, you're just going to leave me like that and abandon, blah, 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 whatever. Got really mad. And that's when he got up and was like, I'm leaving, like, pack up your food. And I said, no, I'm going to stay here and finish eating. Like, I'm not leaving yet. And so like that was a situation where I felt like I tried to give a boundary of like, I'm moving to like
Well, you
keep
need to
myself
move.
safe.
Yes, you need to
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
You need to move.
Right.
And if he leaves you, he can leave. Like,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
that's
Totally.
like he
Yeah.
needs to
He
live
didn't
in
he
the
didn't
reality of his
because
choices.
totally. And I think that it probably hit him like, oh, if I leave her, like her family will find out about this because someone's gonna have to come get them. And so I think he realized
Good.
that was
Good.
the option, the
Yeah.
alternative.
Well, good. And
Yeah.
so we have to know that boundaries like these are not only to control his behavior, they're to protect
Sure.
us. They're
Sure.
for you.
Yeah.
I'm also going to say this is that you have grounds for separation. I'm not a
Hmm.
lawyer, but like, do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know that that's how extreme this is?
Yeah. I I
Just in
like
terms,
I
again, from a
kind of do. Yeah.
self-protective standpoint. I'm not like,
Yeah.
not to hurt,
Yeah.
not to, but for you.
No, 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 of course. I mean, I know that, and I mean, I know you can get separated or divorced for any reason and
Sure.
all of those things. I don't know, like, what does that mean though, I guess is my question. Like,
Hmm.
what does that materialize to?
That means you have power in this situation and that this behavior is like objectively abusive.
Okay. Got it.
That's kind of what it means. Like
Uh-huh.
and that like consulting
But
with a
what would that
lawyer, for example,
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
help give you information as to what
Right.
options you have. Because sometimes I've heard this from women. Sometimes, like doing what's therapeutically healthy and appropriate for the relationship can be not in your best interest from a legal perspective for some reason. So,
Right. Right.
like
Right.
moving out of the home or taking, like things like that to protect yourself can look bad in
Mhm.
that way. So that's why
Yeah.
the more information,
Oh,
the
I see. I
better.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so yeah, that's the only reason I bring that up is like
Sure.
your protection, you and your child is number one. There are
Hmm.
things to do in the meantime though, and things to ask
Hmm.
yourself like what do you feel like what's preventing you from saying like, okay, then go. Like if you're going to abandon us here, we're going to,
Hmm.
because I put an end to your abusive treatment of me. Like,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
well, because
Well,
what
I
I'm
wouldn't.
hearing you say too is that was like borderline effective in the moment, right? That one incident,
You mean
like
the
back at the
my setting
restaurant.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've ever said like don't, I haven't stopped him and been like don't go. He just like realized that the actual leaving was going to be a bad look. Other times when he's done that, like I'm at home and he's like, well, I'm leaving and blah 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 blah, and he just leaves and I'm like, okay, phew, he's gone. But then he comes back a couple hours later and you know so I've never like I haven't stopped him. I'm
Okay.
not like, oh no, please stay. No. Mm-mm.
Oh, right,
No.
right, right. Okay, that's good. Well, and I'm in my head, I'm like maybe telling him to go, like, I just mean more, not necessarily saying it, but just the energy of like
Mm-hmm.
calling his bluff kind of thing, where it's like, I'm not going to stop you from going.
Oh, that's true.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah, yeah.
mean?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah,
so, uh, yeah, some people can respond to that. And it is, so the top down approach, like having these boundaries and consequences, it's exhausting. So
yeah.
you're going to see like it takes a lot of energy to constantly be like holding boundaries against unacceptable behavior. So the language is like this behavior is unacceptable. It's
Mm-hmm.
scaring me. And if it
Mm-hmm.
continues, I'm going to move tables. That's exactly what she did. And then
Okay.
pause, like you
Yeah.
said, wait to see what he does. And if he keeps going, then then you do it.
Yeah.
And it's over
Now,
and
what
over and
about,
over. Yeah.
yeah. What about like, I have had people say, well, not like threaten divorce or threaten to leave him or whatever, but like, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to threaten, but like, what is there a way to express as a boundary, like, if this doesn't stop, I cannot stay in this relationship? Like, or is that it? I don't know.
That's perfectly said. Like
Yeah.
I've told people, I've used the language before, like this is a very dysfunctional dynamic. This behavior is unacceptable. I'm not committed to this dysfunction. Like
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
if this
Yeah.
behavior continues, I'm going to have to take bigger steps to protect myself. This is,
And
like,
then,
yeah.
yeah. And then what do you do? Because in the instances where I've said something, not that I haven't like really said that, but in the instances where, I do bring up the behavior or something like after the fact, a lot of times it just gets turned around really quickly on me. Well, you're so anxious, or you do this, or blah, blah, blah. And like, I get it. Yeah, I'm not a perfect person either. I'm sure I do things that like, get under
Darvo.
his
So,
skin or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah. But like, it always gets turned around. And I don't know how to like
Well, so
turn it back
that's another
around.
time for a boundary. Like,
Okay.
it's kind of there's a book called Fight Fair by the Gottmans.
Okay.
And
Yeah, yeah,
there
I
I
know
think it's
them.
the
Okay.
first chapter in there that's like whoever has the complaint, whoever has the issue, like gets the floor. It's kind of like
Okay. So
you
it's like,
that's
oh
not a
no, this
time.
conversation, we're talking about you, I
You're
guess,
not
sort
gonna
of thing.
yeah, you're not gonna you just
Okay.
screamed at me in a restaurant.
Right.
That
Right.
has
Right. Right.
nothing to do with my anxiety.
Yeah.
And that's where the emotional abuse comes in too. Like this behavior where you're not taking, I'm confronting you calmly, kindly,
Mm-hmm.
lovingly because I love you and I
Mm-hmm.
care about this relationship. And you're
Mm-hmm.
darvoing me, like you're denying, you're
Yeah.
attacking, you're suddenly now the victim. Like absolutely not.
Yes.
And
Yes. Yes.
if this
Yes.
behavior continues and you cannot take accountability, like I'm gonna have like this is a huge issue. And our son is
Yeah.
picking, like our son is picking
Yeah.
up on this. Like this is not just like a
He,
petty argument.
right. He has said before, and I haven't many times, but a couple of times I've like let him know that our son has, said something to me, or that like I can tell he's noticing. And that also gets flipped on me. Well, that's like, you're feeding that to him. It's your propaganda. You're like, yeah.
This is so like what's your reaction to seeing me like react like this is so insane behavior?
I know it's so weird because I've been in this for so long that like I know it's not normal, like I know it's not right, but like it's become my normal.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
don't know, you know?
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean that makes sense. That makes
Mm,
sense. Um this is an incredibly difficult thing to deal with.
mm,
I
mm,
mean, it's this is absolutely not your fault. You didn't
mm.
cause this. You can't control it. Like the top down, and you can't. What is this? You can't. You didn't cause it. You can't control it. You can't cure it. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you are not responsible for him taking accountability. You're responsible
right.
here for you and your son's well-being
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
for stopping this harmful behavior. And if you and like you can say like if I don't want to have sex with you ever again, do not ask me. until this behavior has changed. You will not degrade me
Yeah.
one day, be cool the next day
Yeah.
without repair, and then expect access to my whole being.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like family stuff, like I think a lot of, so again, this top down approach is meant to be a temporary like thing where ideally
Right.
they either, I mean, I've heard some people say, and I'll just tell you reality, like, hey, when I started setting boundaries with my boyfriend, when I started setting boundaries, they cheated on me. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
expedites
Yeah.
the relationship
Sure.
in a way. And that's
Yeah.
the scary part is like you said, like the devil,
Hmm.
is better than the devil you don't. Like, what is the unknown of
Hmm.
this situation?
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
other hand, I've also gotten tons of messages like from people, because again, like it's different than a relationship I have where we're really dealing with the micros of every day. But I've gotten feedback of like, this is so weird. This is like voodoo magic where this
Yeah.
for some reason works, and they come back
Works.
to me an hour later and apologize. So it just,
Wow.
there are a
Yeah.
lot
You just
of,
don't know.
you just don't know. You have to keep in mind that your safety is the priority. And if he's escalating in response to your boundaries, like you have to have a proportionate response to that. It can't be just like, oh, he's having a bad day. It's like, if you're scared, like go
Yeah.
stay with your family.
Yeah. So I guess my like sort of follow-up question would be to okay, this, say I'm setting the boundary and I'm like, there's a consequence, right? Like I'm gonna step out or whatever it is. And okay. But what about like and say then the situation just kind of ends, like I'm just physically away. What's the like follow-up to that? Because, the follow-up that I have done would be like, again, going that sort of emotional route and like, I know you're really stressed and da 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 da, but like, I know that is not
No,
the approach I should take, but what is the follow-up conversation? Like if he
I,
still doesn't come to me.
I, if he still doesn't come to you, one, that's abandonment, by the way. So
Yeah.
again, like that's a
Yeah.
legal, like this is in the, um, that's abandonment. But two, it's like, I am going to leave this situation because I'm feeling unsafe. If
Hmm.
this, in an hour, I will be ready for accountability and an apology. If that doesn't,
Hmm.
that needs to happen. If, I'm going to be taking some serious steps to reevaluate our relationship. Like we need to
Okay.
treat this
Yeah.
as what it is. Like I'm only interested in, so if he doesn't do that, then your
Yeah.
relationship becomes solely logistical.
Yes.
No
Yeah.
sex, like I'm serious,
Hmm.
like no intimacy.
Yeah.
Not to
Yeah.
like again tell you what to do, but those things
Yeah.
are extra in a marriage. Without
Hmm.
respect, those things
Hmm.
cannot exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Yeah. Totally.
it's just, this is kind of like on repeat of like, I'm only
Hmm.
interested in compassion, curiosity, and accountability. I'm only interested
Yeah.
in like, it's normal when someone's
Yeah,
upset.
no, that's a good way to
Yeah.
say like in an hour when you're ready, I'm here for the accountability and the apology. So you come to me when you're ready. I guess I just kind of have to put it on him.
That's, I mean, it's,
Or
I wouldn't, I don't know. I would say,
no.
again, because this is more what we're also doing with this like bottom
Mhm.
or top down approach is like, what do you want? If it's 5 minutes, if you can say, actually, in 5 minutes, like I'm going to take a step out. In
Mhm.
five, I'm going to take a minute to calm down myself because I'm feeling really scared and
Mhm.
dysregulated. I'll be ready in 5 minutes, and I expect accountability and an apology. And this behavior is unacceptable.
Mhm. Okay.
And so we're kind of like behavioral about this. Like
Yeah.
we're not worried about why he's this way, because he doesn't
Yeah.
even know. He doesn't know.
Mm-mm.
He has no insight.
Mm-mm.
It's and for so
None.
for him, empathy, when you have empathy for someone that cannot self-reflect and doesn't take accountability, that enables their
Mhm.
ability to do that themselves.
Yes.
It's different
Yes.
with like, say, a female friend, like it's different
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
someone that can do
Yeah.
that. With someone that can't
Yeah.
do that, like you're experiencing, it can reinforce the problem.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. That makes sense.
I would think about the behaviors that are unacceptable that you need boundaries around. I would think
Okay.
about to how they affect you, like not just this is wrong, this is Darvo, but I feel crazy, and I'm your
Yeah.
wife. Like I want to
Yeah.
be connected to you, you
Hmm.
know? And then you're
Yeah.
thinking also about what you're going to do if the behavior doesn't change. Not in a threatening way,
Right.
but just in a like, this is seriously extremely harmful and destructive to myself and our child. And like,
Right.
I'm not going to wait around for you to change. I can't, that's going to erode us.
Right. 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 And I think it's interesting because that's one thing that also has come up a number of times in like when we have done couples therapy is, he's constantly like, oh, you're just always bringing things up from the past, but it's like, but it's the present. And I know it's the future because it hasn't changed,
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. It's,
Yeah.
that's another tactic people that avoid accountability say is
Hmm.
it's in the past. And so I think you're
Yeah.
so right. Like the past is very much present until
Hmm.
I see otherwise.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you don't even acknowledge that it happens. Like how would
Right.
I,
Right.
like you don't acknowledge, much less apologize or repair, much less
Right.
try to do something differently. So like
Right.
again, you're not going to get out of this. Like I know that
Yeah.
this is reality. I know this is true. And
And so then in the
yeah.
situation where, because we kind of started talking about this, but just thinking of like actual sort of like verbiage and script almost,
Yeah.
because obviously in the moment you're kind of flustered and scared, if and when the conversation comes up later and I am able to say or at any point that I'm saying this behavior is scary or blah blah blah, and he says, well, and starts to like put it on me. I know
Blame.
what you're saying is
Mm.
like, yeah, that like this conversation is about you and your behavior, not about me and
Good.
my
That's
feelings. Or like,
perfect.
I don't know, is that what I say? Or like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's more
Okay.
important than what you say is what you do. I'll say
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a perfect thing to say. There's not necessarily a right, wrong,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
it's because he's not listening at that point.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
That's true.
it's the process of like, no, this is so hurtful to me. And so I'm going to take space. Have you seen the show,
Hmm.
Pluribus on Apple TV?
No.
Okay.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
There's this great, when this one person yells at someone else, like they get very physically hurt. It's like a sci-fi, I think,
Hmm.
movie. Anyway,
Hmm.
it happens like 2 or 3 times. And the third time they're like, we cannot be around you because until you have a change of
Hmm.
heart, because we are getting
Yeah.
physically hurt. That's like the
Hurt.
idea here is
Yeah.
this can never happen again. We
Right.
get so hurt. Look at our son. Um,
Right.
some resources for you to help with this
Hmm.
is, are you familiar with Al-Anon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there's resources like that. There's AA, for people struggling with addiction.
Sure.
Al-Anon is for family members and loved ones. And
Sure.
that can really help you with the like detachment from this behavior and
Oh, interesting.
help you find support. Cause like the reason I like that attitude too is like your husband's behavior is really akin to someone shooting heroin and living under a
Hmm.
bridge. Like it's that
Hmm. Hmm.
extreme, it's that destructive, it's that objectively self-destructive and it's I guess it's not hurting others, but like necessarily, but it's that like black or white.
Hmm.
And so that's the way to treat this is like
Yeah.
you will not do this around me or to me.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
just like that's
Yeah.
absolutely not happening, and it's just got to be that firm about it.
Right.
Yeah. So Al-Anon, there's like
Okay.
I don't know, Codependence Anonymous. Like, I'm not saying you're codependent. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
group or community can be really helpful in learning scripts, hearing other people talk about this, getting
And
ideas.
when you say codependent in this kind of situation, like what would that look like? Like what if I was, like how would I know, or what would that mean really?
Codependent would be if you believed that you were at fault for his behavior. If in these moments when he's
Okay.
like
I
blaming
used
you,
to. I used
yeah,
to. I used to. I used to. Yeah. Yeah.
like where you buy into
And
it.
he still
Yeah,
makes me question sometimes, like, but I like I know deep down, like, no, no, I know. Yeah.
good.
Okay.
There you go.
Got
Yeah. So,
it. Okay.
um, I don't think that you, I mean, that's not coming off to me. This is a very difficult situation. That group, kind of like Al Anon, it can just be helpful in terms of community and
Sure.
learning language and
Mhm.
being with people in similar like type situations where
Sure.
that can be helpful. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. The other, I mean, what somebody else said was an example of one of their boundaries was like, if, you know, I'm not going to let you yell at me in front of our kids. If,
Mhm.
and I'm going to leave, and in an hour, if I don't hear an apology and some accountability, I will be taking this to our mentors and we will talk about it all together.
Mm.
And
Yeah, we don't
she's
have mentors, but that is a good idea. I like
like,
that
if it's
one.
your dad, you know, like if
Yeah.
it's like getting in front of other people should be, you know, can be motivated. Cause again,
Yes.
this is a short-term thing cause he needs to do some serious work.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
this is kind of the short-term process to get yourself safe and see
Yeah.
what happens. If he's
Yeah.
responsive to it and gets insight, takes accountability, or if
Mhm.
he keeps blaming, keeps, you know, shooting up type thing, using
Sure.
it like so.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah,
That makes sense.
okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm so glad you. I mean, this is so much. I just like feel for you
Yeah.
so much,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
and I
And I
think,
appreciate all
yeah,
your insights.
yeah. Well, I think with your son, all to say is that he's
Yeah.
still young enough where some changes could make a big difference. You know, it's not like he's 17
Mhm.
and leaving the next year.
Well, and I guess I would ask you this too, because I have done a few different things and I never know like what is right. Like in terms of how I like talk to my son about it or don't talk to him about it. Like, look, there's a big part of me that's like, I'm never going to like, talk bad about my husband or put him down to my son like that, that's not going to help anything. But I also want to acknowledge that like I know he feels scared in those
That's
situations,
good.
and like
Yeah.
I want him to know that like I am a grown up, we are safe, we're good, like I got it.
That's
um
great.
but I don't know, like what's your perspective on like bringing something up to my son after it happens versus like I don't want to like leave him alone in the, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think that's great that you're worried about him and his experience, that
Hmm.
you're also
Hmm.
reassuring and encouraging of that you got this and that you're handling it.
Yeah.
The way that you talk about your husband's going to be big. Like, you know, it's not dad is having a bad day. It's also not
Hmm.
the other end of like dad is a monster and terrible. It's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that behavior is unacceptable and hurtful. Tell me what you see. You know,
Yeah.
it's you can be
Yeah.
like honest. Like, yeah, what feels wrong about
Yeah.
that to you? Like, you
Right.
know, and again, this is a situation that is tricky where if it were to become legal, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe getting advice from a lawyer can be helpful of
Hmm.
like, I want to make sure I'm doing this right with my son, but also protecting myself in the
Yeah.
courts. Cause like you know, people like this can really call parental alienation, even though it's not. You're obviously just very stuck on how to deal with this with your sons who's obviously affected.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, I would I would also just be on the lookout for anxiety, like for things for your son,
Mm.
this coming out in your son in some ways,
Yeah.
and
It does. It
yeah,
does.
and getting support, like there are so many amazing child therapists that can help in this time when you're
Hmm.
figuring this out. And the therapist can
Yeah.
help you and can help your husband too, like possibly
Yeah.
kind of manage the situation in the best way that's right for your son.
Right.
So if
Right.
it's, you know, again, if you're seeing this stuff in your son, then like early intervention as much as
Hmm.
possible is
Yeah.
definitely best because this is a lot for a kid to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And his anxiety, I feel like, comes more around when he's nervous he's going to be the recipient, you know? Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's
Yeah.
huge. That's big.
hmm Yeah. Yeah. For sure. hmm
Um, well, yeah, this is a really heavy situation.
hmm
Do you have resources to get some therapy, to get some help for him?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I hope I answered your questions. I mean,
You did. You did.
yeah,
It was really helpful, and
this is layered.
I'll be trying them.
Okay. All right, Megan. Well, thanks for calling.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
take care.
Bye.
Bye. Ooh. I'm reading the comments. I hope she reads them too. Hmm. Hmm. All right, guys. This was a very eventful class with Kate today. Thanks everybody for watching. Like, subscribe, comments on this. I'll be back Tuesday with another caller and some more fun stuff. But I hope you guys have a happy rest of your week.